But
What?
Hey, what's up, everybody? A lot of people were asking me, hey, are you going to do a event reaction to the PlayStation Experience 2016? And so, yeah, I threw one together, and I got some cool people. I got the governor here with me. Hey, GKB, thanks for stopping by.
What's up, brother? Always glad to come and help you out, bro. No problem.
Hell yeah, I appreciate it. And we have your lovely wife, She-Wolf. How you doing?
Hello. Here to talk some PlayStation for a change.
Yeah, PlayStation. I mean, you guys watched it, so it's cool. And I got Xbot 3479. What's up?
What's going on, crap? Yo, how about that Marvel vs. Capcom, man?
Dude, hey, you know what?
I'm excited.
I thought it was cool, right? Like, look, I'm not a big fan of that series. I mean, I played it on the Dreamcast, but that leaked out. Like the Wipeout stuff kind of leaked out as well. I thought overall, well, first of all, Sony did this event, and I thought the first two PSXs were kind of really lame. This one was an improvement over those, but at the end of the day, I don't think it was a great event. Now, first of all, they start showing off with, the Uncharted standalone thing, which I actually thought was Tomb Raider, and I know I'm not the only one, right? I mean, did you guys both all think?
I tweeted it out. I was like, is this another Tomb Raider already?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's the Lost Legacy. It's like a standalone DLC. They didn't announce when it's coming or anything, but I think that it's probably going to come sometime next year. And what was cool about it, because it does, like, I'm an Uncharted fan, so it has Chloe in it from Uncharted 2, which is pretty cool. You know what I mean? But she looked a lot like Laura, when she was dressed up, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's pretty cool. I like that area. Maybe they could spin off something in the future, because they're gonna do some more Uncharted, eventually. I mean, let's just be honest, that's like their Halo.
Well, maybe they're trying to do like a whole female style story now instead, because people have been saying, they're done with Nathan Drake's whole story, but what if they're just going into an all-female story type thing like Lara Croft? They know it works.
They'll definitely rip off the Lara Croft thing. If
why not? Neo ripped off looking like friggin' The Witcher 3 guy.
Well, if this DLC sells well and it gets a buzz and everything like that, you could pretty much guarantee that these characters will be the future of Uncharted. I mean, I think they're just kind of fishing it out there and seeing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is like they're trying to keep the Uncharted series going, but just not with Nathan, and figuring out another way to go too. That's what I was thinking as well.
I like seeing strong female characters like Laura, and for instance now this, and I think it's great for the upcoming growing females gamers that are coming into the whole cycle of the world. So I think it's awesome for our kids to get to grow up seeing strong female gamers like this.
Yeah, definitely. Every time there's a badass chick who's front and center in a game, like everybody loves that. I mean, you look at Perfect Dark, you look at Lara Croft in Tomb Raider and stuff like that. It's not like the community would shun that away or anything like that. It's good to see more.
Yeah, you know what? I liked it. I thought that it looked good. I'm actually kind of excited about it, because I like the Uncharted series, and I thought that they did a good job kind of presenting that. It was a very kind of, what is this game, and then when you finally get to see it, I'm like, okay, I can dig that, because we weren't sure what the story DLC was going to be for that, and now they're like, okay, well, it's a standalone DLC, which I have to say Sony actually has pretty good they have pretty good cred with, because they did the infamous First Light. And I thought that, that was better than the actual infamous Second Son. I don't know if you guys have played that, but I wasn't a big fan of infamous Second Son. I didn't like the main character, whereas in First Light, I actually liked the character Fetch, who's, again, was a female character, strong female character. Yeah, I like that much better, and I think that that's pretty cool that they're going in this direction, because a lot of people were like, oh, well, where's Chloe or whatever from Uncharted 2, and so I thought that this was a really cool direction to go in, and so that part was pretty cool.
Well, they said that in the after show that she's been really just gone from the scenes in, the last couple of Uncharted's, and then all of a sudden, now she's got her own standalone, and so they can pretty much work a whole entire backstory just fulfilled on her and stuff like that, and that's what they were explaining, which I thought was really neat to do with, I hope they do that with other characters to bring out other DLCs, because, we do see a lot of other great characters in games that just don't get the attention that I think they probably could use.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I like that. I think that it's cool. So props to Sony for doing that. And then they went right into like the Uncharted thing. They started off really strong. They went right into the Uncharted thing to the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Captain Marvel, baby.
Yeah, I saw.
He looked awesome.
I saw everybody get was like, yeah, woo, and I was just like hoping, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of that series, but I know that a lot of people are, so I'm just like, okay, just hopefully it's going to be on Xbox as well, so that everybody gets a chance to play it. I don't want to see a situation like Street Fighter V, which basically ruined that game by being a PlayStation exclusive. And it looks like it's going to come out in March on Xbox and PlayStation, so that's not an exclusive. The only exclusive part would be Part 3, which is releasing today. I guess it's a remaster or something like that, but you gotta buy it again. I think.
PC,
is it a remaster?
Xbox and PC that it's coming out on in March? Isn't it coming out on PlayStation earlier than that?
Yeah, it's coming out on PlayStation today, right? And then in March it'll be available on Xbox One and PC. But is it a remaster, or is it in the store, or is it in PlayStation Now? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think it's probably in the store, because they said that it's an exclusive or whatever. So I don't think that you're going to say something's an exclusive. But they called it they called Part 3 an exclusive, not the Infinite thing.
Yeah.
Is coming.
It was, dude, when it came to exclusive stuff, I even wrote down a quote. It was like console exclusive coming first to PlayStation. Like Sony, man, they pick their words carefully, and they try to sound confusing when they say this stuff.
Yeah,
and
they work in that gray area.
It leaves people like scratching their heads. So it's like, what's that mean? Is it only PlayStation? Like console exclusive means also PC. So like, what's going on here? And of course, it's their own event. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, you'll be able to get on Xbox as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, because it is a PlayStation event, just like at Microsoft's E3, you're not going to see PlayStation logos and stuff like that at the bottom. You know what I mean? Like that makes sense. But another game coming out, another fighting game. I guess you could say it's kind of a rebirth of that fighting game. And let's be honest, there was a good chance that the Infinite game was going to be multi-platform anyway, because the last couple of fighting games that are, I guess, well-known, like King of Fighters and Street Fighter V, have been on PlayStation only, and they tanked like completely. So I don't think that that's a good idea for some of these well-known franchises, you know what I mean? So everybody's going to be happy with this. I'll probably pick this up just to play with you guys. You know what I mean? Like, this is one of those.
Yo, crap! We gotta show Mega, man. We gotta get him to stop talking about Tekken. He's got to play the Marvel vs. Capcom, and we gotta get him away from talking about Tekken. I
watched K Mega get his ass kicked on Dead or Alive. I think it was last night from Zaire. Like over, it was the funniest thing. I did. I watched it. I was like, this is so funny. You know what I mean? And it was cool to like hop in the chat and stuff like that. And people were like, "Crap, why don't you stream?" I'm like, "I got a 3 upload speed. I don't think that's good enough to stream. I don't know. Like, to me, I wish they would. Supposedly they're gonna double that, and then that would be enough, because you supposedly need between 4 and 5 to be able to stream at least 720p, I guess. So.
All right. So apparently, from the article, it says Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is set to release in 2017, but with no official date. The Ultimate, whatever, the 3, that's releasing in the PS4 store today.
Yeah. Okay. So that's. Although I did read somewhere that something said Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite in March. So that could be, I could be wrong on that, and don't quote me on that. I've heard that.
Yeah, that time frame makes sense. I mean,
that which would be cool, because you would have more games coming out at the beginning of the year or whatever.
When did Street Fighter V drop?
In March.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so that would make a lot of sense to me. You know what I mean? So I thought that was cool, and then they went into the Crash Bandicoot stuff, which I know a lot of people were asking for, and that to me is like, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
That's PlayStation 1 style stuff, and the gameplay just does not hold up in it'll be 2017. And so while it looks like it got a fresh coat of paint, it looks like an indie game nowadays. You know what I mean? Even the remasters or remakes or whatever I'm not sure if they're remaster or remake. They look like remakes. but Crash looks weird to me. I don't know. I'm not
I thought like the gameplay itself looked all right, but like we talked about like remasters and remakes and stuff all the time from those like generations, and I'm always like, is that play style and everything going to be okay with today's gamers? I don't really think so. I thought the weird part that really was throwing me off is just Crash, like all the close-ups and stuff. He just looked really weird and not like he used to. What I remember anyway.
Exactly.
But I thought the environments and stuff looked all right. I thought they did way more than I really thought they were going to do. So,
well, I mean, I don't. Oh, my bad, Crap. I was just going to say
that PlayStation 1 games. I mean, go ahead, Xbot.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think what I saw from the PSX, there's like this whole undertone. There was a lot of PlayStation 1 remakes and remasters and stuff like that. When it comes to Crash, I think it's good for people who are fans of Crash Bandicoot, but I don't see this bringing new players to the franchise and being like, man, they need to make another Crash. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see, like, they did the remaster. The graphics look okay. They don't look up to like today's standards. And of course, you have at the core of the game, you still have PlayStation 1 mechanics to it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I can't see it grabbing new people to be like, I love Crash now.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like I said, it's old school gameplay, and everybody's like wondering why. Oh man, it'd be great if Sony went back and bought that IP, and Naughty Dog went and worked on it, and Naughty Dog's probably thinking that's the last fucking thing we want to work on.
Well, I mean, like a new game for like today's gamers, that'd be kind of cool. But
yeah, like I don't know. For me, it's just because if you play Uncharted 4, right, there's a spot early in the game where you play Crash Bandicoot, right? Like Nathan Drake sits down and he's playing Crash Bandicoot 1 or whatever on a PlayStation 1. And so I'm playing that game and I'm thinking, God, this game is really sucks. What were we thinking? You know what I mean? Like, I think that a lot.
You know, when it comes to Crash and stuff, it reminds me of Spyro. I love that game growing up, and I really enjoyed all the colors and everything, but it's not really a game I would want to sit down and play nowadays because of the fact that I'm me personally, I'm out of all of that kind of like bright, pretty kind of things. Like it's not that's like playing Skylanders and Disney Infinity and those kind of games. Like, I guess if you're into that style, then yeah, this game would definitely obviously go to your style. But I'm pretty sure most adults nowadays are kind of more moved towards the, say for instance, like the Resident Evil Biohazard. I think, we're kind of more along the lines of that style of game and shooters and stuff than going back to playing games that are kind of more bright colored and, with
childish.
I'm trying not to use the word because
Crapgamer's childish.
It's really hard to not use that exact word because it's not. It's. I don't mean it as childish, but like that. There's still games that we grew up with.
Those are games that most people like. I remember personally, like platformers were the main games you played back in the day because that's what every game was.
The majority of the games
was platformers. So that
we were all kids, and let's be honest, a lot of those developers were kind of trying to hit that target, like that age target, because of the fact, back then that's what was mostly playing because adults went to work. They did they didn't really focus on playing video games.
That's an interesting point, Shul, that a lot of us are like, adults now, and when gaming started back then, we were all children. That's a good point. That's pretty good.
She-Wolf, I was going to say, when it comes down to games and variety of games, I don't want every single game to come out to put a gun in my hand or to have something, an adult theme to it and stuff like that. I look back at like what I grew up playing, and I would like more of that into today's generation of games. But what I don't want them remastering these old like Crash Bandicoots and stuff like that. Come out with a new title, a new sequel, or a reboot, and really put the power of these systems into it.
See, that's what I mean, though. Like,
I got a genre for you, Xbot. I play it all the time, man. It's called indies, bro.
Okay. I don't mean like we wouldn't want to, like, for instance, someone actually pointed this out. I'm excited for Kingdom Hearts 3, but it's grown up. It's still not like just the, they have added more real life form of textures to it to actually give it more of a new day and age look to it is what
Yeah.
I'm more trying to get at. Not like Crash Bandicoot still kind of reminded me of the game that we played way back when, with the same bright, colorful world, and he still looked just as
I think you're trying to say,
cartoony.
like, you know how I always say, like, Zelda, like, it would be cool to see the Zelda universe in like a Witcher 3 type thing.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where you're going with it. But.
No,
Well,
and
even
I
the
think-
new Zelda, let's be honest, even that one looks more improved than what Zelda used to in the days.
Yo, She-Wolf, I actually think we're closer together on this topic than it might look, because I hear you saying pretty much kind of like what I was saying. You know, we don't want like the remasters of this old traditional thing. Bring it up, new title to today's day and age, and really put the power behind the system. Improve the textures, make you know, more realistic lighting. You know, bring it up to today's age. Make it a little more. I can see what you're saying now. Make it a little more
like,
grown up. And
there's tons of cartoon style movies that, you know, we all like to watch, but they have a more grown up texture style to them, which make them more appealing to us, but we still enjoy watching them because of that. Like, we got like the 3D graphics and everything else like that can now be brought into all of these. Like even Ratchet and Clank, you know, that one even still had a bit more real, like not realistic, but
it was brought to today's age. You saw,
Yes,
you saw the hardware working to put that game on your TV, basically, and it's a lot of visual improvement. Yeah, definitely.
So the big news also of the day would be Knack. I mean, Knack 2 is a thing. I couldn't believe
Knack
it.
was a masterpiece.
Yes.
And now Knack 2.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, if there was ever a game that doesn't deserve a sequel, I would think that it would be Knack. And I think that the only reason why this game is getting a sequel is due to the fact that Mark Cerny created. I mean, what's your guys' thoughts on that game being announced here?
I didn't play the Knack one, so I don't have anything to base, you know, the second one on or anything like that. From what I saw, I think the graphics look cool. I don't know anything about the gameplay or anything like that, so I'll reserve to whoever's played it on the panel. But I think it's all right. I don't know if I particularly play it, but yeah.
I don't know. I saw a lot of gameplay from this YouTuber. What's his name? I believe it's Crap.
Where I was basically blindfolded.
But you know, Knack 2 though is actually a perfect example of what I was trying to explain by like still, you know, the fun-looking world, but at a better texture looking to our world, like to our look style now. Like that is actually a perfect example. If they brought like Crash Bandicoot to look like that, I think it would actually be a lot more appealing. Not obviously those characters, but.
Well, yeah. Like, here's the thing. Like Knack played a lot like Crash Bandicoot. To be honest with you, like that's, you know, it played like one. But the thing is, like, it was supposedly showing off like this new hardware and stuff like that. But the game, like, you know, everything disappeared. Like the enemies and like once you broke it, all the stuff disappeared. And that's not very like new school to me. Like, there's a fixed camera angle in the game. That's very like old school, you know. So
I don't like the fixed camera stuff.
Yeah, fixed cameras don't work anymore in 2016. So I just thought it was odd because I knew Knack 2 was coming, and because I was told about it, and I even think that I might have said it was looking like it was going to get announced at E3 this past year, but then they decided to pull it back for I guess PSX, and so there you go. I mean, I don't think that it's a megaton announcement or anything like that. I just think that it's just more of those meh. I don't know. Yeah, it's
It'd
like
be fun to play the fact that it's co-op.
Yeah, I mean they added that in there, so I mean that's cool, and it's a platform.
So now you can share this piece of shit with a friend.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I mean, look, it's co-op, so I mean, there's that, which I guess is cool. And,
you guys can fall asleep together.
Yeah, but is there really? I don't know. Like to me, I think that was pretty much a lackluster kind of thing. But also, like the amount of remasters announced, it was like the Crash Bandicoot trilogy remasters are coming. Also, what was it? Pa Rapper the Rapper with.
Okay, I love that game. I used to play that game, and oh my god, I was like, oh my god, it's coming back.
Yeah, but it's the same game, and
no, I know it is. I won't play it. I used to love that game.
Now what they're doing is they remastered the PS1 versions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're looking at they're remastering PS1 games, and what was it? So there was 3 games. I can't even remember what the hell all 3 were.
Loco Roco and the or whatever the heck that other one was.
Yeah, I have it written down. Hold on. Loco Roco and Patapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've heard of Pa Rappa. Then that's the only one of those
I
three.
played Loco Roco. I mean, that was kind of cool. Like, I think it was on the PSP or something when I was playing it.
Yeah, you know what? I might have played that on PSP as well. Yeah, I think I might have that because I have a pretty big PSP collection. I thought it was actually a pretty good thing. But so yeah, they had those three remasters, the three remastered Crash games, and then they had three the Wipeout collection or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wrote it down as Wipeout. I was like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, like I thought it was going to be a new Wipeout, but it's just remasters of the past ones, I guess, PS3 ones and stuff, right?
Crap, you're hitting that. The biggest problem I have with this PSX thing is like, those older titles. I would rather see newer iteration. I don't want remasters. I want the next Wipeout, not the old Wipeout with kind of like improved textures and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they showed a lot of.
Yeah, it's just like with PSX though and E3 right around the corner. In this kind of like format, I don't think they're going to show us like any big titles like that. I'm definitely with you. I don't want to see a lot of remasters either, but PSX I don't think is like a stage to show off really.
But this kind of goes along the lines of what Xbox did and stuff like that with their remasters. It's just kind of it's a money grab right now. They're just bringing out games hoping that people are going to actually going to buy them, whether they asked for it. Like a few people could have asked for it, or quite a few people could have asked for it. So that's why they're bringing out. Maybe the developers need the money to create other games that are projects that they're trying to work on. There could be reasons why it was just easier to bring out the remasters.
Broke. That's why.
Well, look, here's the thing, right? Like I get that. Like I've come to peace with that. I've already been on record as saying I understand why they're doing that, because these games are going to be these games are going to be forward compatible in the future. So everything they're going to be doing, both Microsoft and Sony are going to have that in mind. So you're going to see that happening a lot, where you're going to see some of these remasters come out and things like that. And I'm fine with that. Like they can come out in slow times of the year.
Yeah, I think all of us also like have already named this generation already, like the remaster generation, because of all the remasters. And you're right. That's just the point of it. Is like all these things are going to be forward compatible with all the new hardware. So
yeah, buy the ones you want and don't. Like I'm not really going to complain about that. But it did seem like 9 remasters announced. That kind of takes away some of the momentum that they really went into, because I thought you come out with the Uncharted standalone story DLC, then you go into the announcement of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and then you start with this like plethora of remasters and things like that. I really thought it took away from kind of the flow of the show. Like it really kind of slowed down. And
what is the guy's name that started the show? Like for some reason,
Sean Layden.
Yeah.
Dude, can somebody get him a bigger T-shirt, please?
I thought the same thing.
Seriously, dude, he's got to be uncomfortable.
He's got like the super tight one, and then that other guy that comes out with the PSP, he's always got this huge ass jersey on, and I'm like,
he dresses the way I would dress if I was doing something like that, like these big oversized jerseys and stuff.
You remind me of Kevin Smith.
Yeah, and he's like, and he actually, I thought he was kind of funny. Like he had the most personality of anyone on the stage. Sean Layden, like I'm like, how is this guy needs to learn how to talk to people? He's like, I was like, damn, give that guy a glass of water or some shit, man. That guy sounds like he's dying back there. But yeah, so the one guy was his name Gio. I thought he actually did a pretty good job. It was good to see Sony bring a woman up on a stage too. They hadn't done that. I've never seen them do that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Hey,
all I saw of them was imitating Microsoft.
Yeah, what's that, She-Wolf?
Yoshida was there.
They were chanting.
Oh, they were like, you know who was chanting Yoshida? His little group of Sony employees. Because I had heard, I'm just saying, I had heard from a couple of people, including Red Dragon mentioned it,
I saw him too.
that the people that were all yelling and chanting and that being that loud were the PlayStation employees that they brought in. Like the rest of the crowd wasn't actually that loud. And this is something that I brought up before too, because people that have attended these PlayStation events, they mic up where like the PlayStation employees are. And I even heard, I saw, what's his name, Ryan McCaffrey tweet out. He goes, they need to turn down the mics in the audience, right? Because they make it sound like their people are, really more excited than they actually are about this stuff. And, I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, nobody's really excited. And then he's like, Yoshida's like, The Last Guardian, which, I mean, what did you guys think of that? Because I thought the footage actually looked much better this time.
You know what, dude? When I saw it on the PSX, I didn't like the footage. When I saw like the 8-minute demo that they had, or the previous like trailer and stuff, I thought it looked better. I don't know what it is like when I watch like people like capturing stuff on these events. Sometimes they're just, I don't know, they're rendering or whatever they're doing. It just makes it look like shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, She-Wolf, what did you think? I mean, because I know you're a Last Guardian fan.
The Last Guardian fan?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, everyone seems to think that. I said I like Falcor from Neverending Story. I did not say I like this big bird thing. Like, his wings just look too small for his body.
You guys see that there was 2 of them?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. There was
They're
2.
fighting.
It's still, when it comes to that game, it looked interesting, but as soon as that kid opens his mouth, it's one thing I can't stand. That stupid squeaking or squawking or whatever the heck that kid does. That's the only thing that annoys me. Like,
Hey,
the
I'm
game
offended
does
right
seem...
there, okay?
Why?
Well, I'm
You
known to
squawk?
have.
I didn't realize. Are you a squawker?
I'm known to have the squeaky voice on YouTube, so I'm like,
Oh, well, you don't go around just going, you don't do that. So it's just, the game itself does look intriguing because, it does make you wonder his whole story and how they became what they are. Where did this creature come from? What was, there is still aspects of that because I do love the fantasy world and things like that always intrigue me. But it's just the little things about this game that would kind of pull me away from it. And one thing would be is that kid when he opens his mouth, like, just have to listen to that through the whole game. That would just drive me a little crazy. But in all, the game kind of goes back and forth for me. I'm glad to see it finally coming out. I don't know if the graphics are completely up to par to what a lot of games that are coming out nowadays, but
I was going to say, I saw some improvements on the graphics, but I believe at the end of the day, when you go below the graphics, finally I saw some improvement on the graphics, which I was like, all right. But at the end of the day, let's be honest here, guys. This game was not in development for so many years. They shelved it. At the core, it's a PS3 game.
I was going to say, wasn't it supposed to originally come out on the PS3? So
Yeah, it was supposed to
did
come
it
out in,
really
like,
get the
2011.
dedication that was well-deserved on the graphics, that is, to actually match up the games that are releasing, like, say, within the next couple of months or whatever, because they've had the newer technology that is brought into 3D graphic than what this game originally had. And I think,
I don't know. We harp on graphics a lot for this type of game, but for this type of game though, it really is about the gameplay. And I don't know who it was, if it was like Eurogamer or somebody else that was like playing like an early build about a month ago or so, and they were really having issues with like the camera and the gameplay, and that worries me because I'm always one of those gameplay king kind of guys. So
yeah, no, definitely gameplay is king, but like when Sony tries to tout this thing like it's been in development for like 8+ years, you expect to see more from it than this. And I feel they put it up on a shelf, they covered it with a glass case and break in case of emergency. They realized that the gamers out there were not letting this game go, and they brought it back. And so underneath everything, I feel you still have a PS3 mechanic, PS3 game in and of itself, man.
Well, you know what? I think that the fact that we get so many indies this gen with kind of those poorer graphics paves the way. I know a lot of people pretend, they pretend that, they don't, graphics or whatever. But with the amount of indies and shit that we get this generation anyway, I think that at the end of the day, those probably don't matter. If it would be the gameplay that really kind of sinks or flies with that game, because I think that it's been so long. Well, it's going to be hard to live up to it, and apparently people kind of bringing it up. Sony doesn't like to look bad, so had Sony just canceled it, which let's say this game bombs terribly, gets terrible scores of 5 out of 10 for an average of 50 on Metacritic or whatever, Sony probably would have been better off just canceling it. But they don't like to look bad. You know what I mean? Like, imagine.
No, I don't think it should have been canceled. I do hope it does well, just for the
I'm not wishing it.
That,
Yeah, I'm not wishing it bad. I'm just saying that, if it does do bad, I would say that Sony might have been better canceling. But you have to look at the time.
Well, maybe it'll surprise us too, though.
Well, remember, there was a rumor, and I did a video years ago, might have been right after the PS4 came out, that The Last Guardian was canceled. An outlet ran a story saying it's canceled. and I did a video on it. And then Sony, like the next day, they let the domain go or whatever it is, the rights to that name go or whatever, right? I think they were going to cancel it, but at the time, you have to remember, Sony were the White Knights of gaming, supposedly. They had saved gaming and all hail Yoshida, right? Because they were going to allow you to play used games, and this is how you share used games. You know what I mean? So they didn't want to look bad, because imagine them canceling a game that people have been looking forward to for, at the time, was like already like 5-6 years.
Definitely tarnish. It would definitely tarnish that image that they have, kind of underhandedly grabbed at the beginning of this generation. And that would be the reason they would be like, no, we're still doing it. No problem, guys.
Yeah, we're still doing it. So they're doing it. And, I thought that this trailer looked okay. I thought it looked better than the other stuff that I'd seen so far. So, I mean, I guess that was kind of cool.
I wish they would show... Oh, sorry.
Oh, my bad. I was going to say, what art style I did like from, like, the indies that they were showing? It was a game called Vane. There was like a liquid metallic kind of like like the art style to that. It was like cell shading mixed together with some more realistic textures and stuff like that. That looked cool, like in terms of graphics. And you're talking about with the lower quality indie type graphics and stuff. But that actually looked cool.
Yeah, I thought that and then they also showed off some VR games, and there was a Harry Potter.
I have to say though, there was an indie game that was shown that I didn't catch the name of it, and I wish I did, but they actually showed like characters that looked exactly like from Killer Instinct.
Yeah,
did anybody notice that? The freaking werewolf that was in there, he looked exactly like freaking Saber or whatever his name is.
Saberwolf?
Yeah.
Hello, lawsuit. That's all I can say.
Like he did. He looked just like it. I was like, what the hell? I'm like, is that freaking Killer Instinct? And then they showed some other character that looked nothing like it, but I was like, wow, that looks really close, but I didn't catch the name of it. I was trying to find it, but... Well,
what was funny was they had that guy G up on stage, and he had a PSP with him, like just to show that the thing wasn't dead or whatever. Like, I like the PSP. I think it's a great handheld. I just wish Sony doesn't support it.
PSP.
Yeah, and it's on PSP, yeah, or PS Vita or whatever the hell it was, yeah. So I actually like the Vita. I think it's a really good handheld. It just really kind of lacks support, which is funny to me because it lacks first-party support, which is very similar to the PlayStation 4, and it has a lot of like indies and smaller games and like Japanese games and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that are, one of those things was successful, the PS4. One of them wasn't, the Vita. So, it's easy to kind of go, look at it and go, well, why was one successful and one wasn't? Well, I guess the answer to that is Microsoft didn't try to put out a handheld and then, say, hey, DRM or anything. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing I could think of, because actually the Vita is a hell of a handheld, and they did a really good job on that. I like it a lot. It's good.
When the Vita came out, man, I looked at that like, damn, like, now, see, that's a handheld right there. Mm-hmm. And like you said, like, I didn't go in and like, I wasn't planning on getting it day one. My brother actually had two of them. But like I saw over time, like they weren't really supporting it. And I'm like, well, damn, I that's what got me to like stay away from it. Like I didn't want to invest that money and just have like all these like kind of niche games that I didn't really know about or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I just kind of skipped over it.
Yeah. Like overall, and then they like I said, they did the VR stuff, which, like VR doesn't really work, like showing you VR, HDR, or any of that kind of stuff, Like
I thought when they were talking about like Ace Combat 6, I thought like, and they were like, oh, it's a PSVR 2. I thought that was like a perfect game for like VR and to show off VR. Like if you're a fighter pilot in some, jet plane and doing that kind of stuff, that's where VR shines for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good idea. As I'm eating a Starburst.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
God damn it. Yeah. So
what do you guys think of the Dreadnought game?
I thought it was dope.
Yeah, I thought it looked okay. I thought it looked pretty good. Like I said, I don't think that it was a terrible show. It just wasn't.
It was better than their E3. Let's just put it that way, man.
Yeah, well, their E3 was really bad.
Really bad.
What was kind of cool? I thought the Resident Evil 7 stuff looked cool.
I want the friggin' Resident Evil Biohazard.
Now,
sure.
now, the question that I asked Hellhammer, because Hellhammer was kind of watching that with me, and go ahead and hit the like button if you guys are watching now, especially if you're a fan. I can see there's some haters in the chat box, but oh well, you got to deal with my opinion, just like I got to deal with your guys' opinion. So the funny thing is,
crap, man, I love coming on your channel because I get so much love in the chat from these.
yeah. Well, the funny thing is like people don't got to watch. You know what I mean? It's just I'm gonna give my opinion on it. People kind of want to see what I thought. I'm telling them what I thought, and then like they disagree with it, which is fine. But it's like, man, you guys stop being so weird with stuff. You know what I mean? I thought it was an okay presentation. They showed a bunch of remasters, a couple of cool announcements. I thought the Uncharted DLC stuff was cool. I actually thought that the Resident Evil 7 stuff looked pretty damn cool.
Absolutely, man. That's gonna be a phenomenal game.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I'm not sold 100% on the first person mode or whatever. But
some of the character models looked a little weird too in that like trailer that they were showing. They looked a little funky, but
yeah, I thought that it looked pretty cool. Again, like I'm not really a fan. Yo, Dylan, I see in the chat box you're like 10 new plus games announced, bro. Like I get it. Like I'm not against remasters, but I'm not gonna get the remastered Wipeout. I'm not gonna get Pa Rappa remasters or Patapon remasters. I'm not buying. Any of that stuff, any of the remastered, the Wipeout stuff or the Crash stuff. I'm not buying any of that stuff. It doesn't interest me. The only stuff that interests me that they had, which was possibly, but it's not even exclusive, would be Marvel vs. Capcom, which I would get simply because my friends would have it. And then like the Uncharted DLC, obviously, I think
that standalone DLC, is it just me or does that look better than the core Uncharted 4 game? Like, I could swear it looked better. It looks more interesting to me than the core Uncharted game, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That's the thing. It's like the DLC, like, it could be better. I mean, look, I wasn't a big fan of the story on Uncharted 4. I think I've been pretty vocal about that I thought it was lackluster, and people were like, oh, kill Crapgamer. He didn't think the Uncharted 4 story was great. And, like, I guess the fact that it lost the Game of the Year and didn't win, like, Best Narrative or anything kind of supports that the game wasn't exactly all that in terms of the story. Like, go ahead.
I thought the standalone DLC was interesting. I also thought, it looked a lot better. I didn't play Uncharted 4, so I'm not going to say it was better than that because I don't know. But I just thought like the whole narrative and what they were showing was really cool. And I think it goes back to what Xbox and myself were talking about. And I think they're trying to push, this narrative of maybe another character moving on with the Uncharted series and stuff like that. And I think they're trying to put their best possible foot forward to give people, something to grab onto for possibly a new game.
Yeah, so they can spin it off, and that's a character people want to hear more from because she was in the second one, which was probably the best Uncharted in my opinion. But again, the story wasn't so great. So maybe this story will make up for some of that. And so I have the season pass, so hopefully, it'll shine. Now, to end the show, just to skip around a little bit. They brought out The Last of Us 2, right? Which, okay, like I can get why people are excited by that, but the amount of Xbox done and Scorpio's irrelevant and, oh man, it's over, Megaton. I think that's maybe a bit premature since they said this is super early in development. That's not even gameplay or any of that stuff. You're looking at probably 3 years' time, which would be 2019, maybe even 2020, because every major AAA release...
We're almost in 2017 right now. So
and every AAA exclusive that Sony has announced for the PS4 has been delayed. So you can imagine that that game probably will see a delay or two along the way as well. You know what I mean? So I think that that's cool. Like people are excited. I like it when people get excited. But just on the other hand, real quick. How does The Last of Us 2 announcement have anything to do with Xbox Scorpio, which is coming out in 2017, which at the very early, at the least, is a year and a half to 2 years before The Last of Us 2, and that's a game versus the most powerful game console ever created. So while
desperation, man.
Yes, and not only that, but I will also say this: if Microsoft had did a cinematic trailer like that for a big time game and didn't show any gameplay and was just like, in development or whatever. Again, that's Sony's biggest problem in my opinion. They keep showing these things that are in development, but years and years and years away. Like, absolutely unbelievable that that's what we're getting these days. You know what I mean? Like, and Microsoft would get crucified for doing that.
Well,
you know,
Crap,
absolutely crucified.
Remember when they first showed the Halo thing, and people were like, "Oh, what's this?" When the Guardian came up out of the sand and stuff, they got crucified for showing that and seeing the length of time, and then the Master Chief Collection was in the middle of that. They're like, "Well, why'd you show all that now?" Like, it's basically the same thing, and they got strung up to dry, for that. I remember that. I'm a little bit of a Halo guy, so I remember what people were saying about that. It's pretty much the same thing, man. And I put out 2020 on Twitter, right? I put hashtag 2020 is when that game's going to come out. And so many people hit my Twitter. Oh, you're salty, this and that. You're desperate. Oh, Xbox is done. I was like, really? Because you didn't even see any gameplay or anything. And it's so far down the line. Whatever, man.
Well, you know what? You know what's a little bit odd to me is the fact that so many people are just like are like that. They're like, "Oh, you're salty." I'm like, "Look," and I even see some Xbox dudes that are like, "Man." I do see some Xbox dudes that are a little salty. Oh, Microsoft needs their own show or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I see some of that, and I'm like, wait, if Microsoft had their own show, would they get away with announcing the stuff like what Sony's doing with being so far out? You know what I mean? Like to me, I don't think...
Well, no, they already have been hit for it. Look at Scalebound. When they first came out with Scalebound, and even Sea of Thieves, they only released just cinematics, and people were pissed. They were like, what is this? When is it coming? And then, they did. They got destroyed on Twitter and social media for it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And look, even as an Xbox fan, believe it or not, guys, I have a preference for Xbox. I don't know if you guys knew that.
But
do?
Yes. I thought you were a Wii U guy.
No, I do like the Wii U a little bit too. I dabble. But
I'm still surprised though that they didn't do anything for Spider-Man though. I really thought that they would have at least showed some form, because they are trying to still tease that it's supposed to be releasing in 2017.
No way. No.
Yeah, I don't think.
I'm just saying they've teased that was the year that it was supposed to come out. So you would still think that if it was, then they would have showed some form of gameplay of it, or even just a bit more of a teaser. But again, this is another game that they show a small, tiny clip in one of the I think it was the end cinematic, and it's just. That's it. It's pretty much going to be null and void until whenever it decides to come out. And this isn't even just Sony. This is all consoles, because Nintendo does it, Xbox does it, Sony does it. Stop showing games if you're not intending to actually have them released within the next year.
Yeah.
Because all they're doing is pushing fans to believe that the console they're buying is going to have this game in the near future, not the far future, the near future. But then they don't. They still continue to display any of these trailers or cinematics, whatever, so close or so far away from actual release dates that we're literally left just wondering what our consoles are actually going to do and what they're even going to have on it, if the game even comes out to begin with.
Yes, it's misleading. And again, my original point was, yes, I'm a bit of an Xbox dude. I definitely prefer Xbox. But one thing that I hate is those damn cinematic trailers, even when they do it, or announcing a game too early. Now, at next E3, we'll probably get some of the stuff that's going to release in the near future. And some people may not like that because it's stuff that we already know about, like Crackdown 3, Scalebound. You know what I mean? Probably Forza 7, whatever. But, you're going to have to deal with that. Because Microsoft, I think, sees the benefit in talking about the games that they're actually putting out. Like Phil Spencer said, and he doesn't even really take shots, but he's like, look, when he was talking about Sony's E3, he's like, we're sending out 4 of the exclusives that we showed off at this E3, and Sony isn't. You know what I mean? When's their stuff coming? Years from now?
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's the part that kind of bugs me about Sony. Cool. Even if you were a big fan of, even if I was a fan of The Last of Us, which I'm not, you know what I mean? What do you have to be excited about today? We knew the game was already in development, so we saw some CGI slapped together. Cool. You know what I mean? Like, that's confirmation that the game's coming. If you're a fan, you can get hyped for that. But put that hype on the back
isn't
burner.
that what it's kind of more of? Just the confirmation that it is coming? Because, you know, there is always those rumors. We hear so many rumors about this game's coming and that game's coming, but then there's never actually any form of clip, any form of gameplay that actually states that this game is coming. And then we're all just kind of like, it's another one of those double standards that the trailers do themselves, where people are left wondering, but then you show it and then you get hate for showing it because it's not coming. Like, it's really tricky how, you know, game developers and social media and, you know, even some of us and stuff like that, you know, they have to throw all of this in, so we either want it or we don't want it, and then I don't know. It's like you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't.
It's a catch-22, and I get that. I just think that if you don't have any actual gameplay to show at all, like zero, then don't show the game or announce the game.
Well, somebody told me on Twitter, one of these guys that came at me about the whole 2020 thing, he was like, well, that was just a teaser. It wasn't an announcement. And I'm thinking to myself, so, Microsoft can make like teasers of games and have no plans on releasing it because it wasn't an announcement. That doesn't make any sense. He's like, there's no, they didn't announce it yet. And usually when they announce it 2 years later, it comes down the line and it's out. I'm like, really?
That makes no sense.
It doesn't.
Why would you show it in the first place if it's not?
It made my aneurysm have an aneurysm. What happened?
Well, you know, it's interesting, right? Like, and like I said, like, I'm not just I'm the only one here. I might be the only one here with the PS4 right now, but I know, like, She-Wolf, GKB, you guys are talking about getting one.
Yeah, so. You know, I was actually, I don't know, here's my 2 cents about the show. It's like, I actually thought their show was really good to me because it speaks to a lot of, like, what I play, because I'm into indies. Everybody knows that. Yeah, so I think, you know, the show started off strong. It kind of went a little slow and then finished off great with The Last of Us. And I said before the show, and I was like, you know, I'm one of those guys too. I don't want to see a trailer like 4 years before the freaking game comes out, because then it's just like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Or they talk about it for the next 4 years and we still can't play it. I hate that crap.
Which is what you got with The Last of Us, basically, because they even said it's at least 3 years out.
Exactly. And Naughty Dog takes their time with making their games, and that's fine. They make great games. Cool.
Yeah.
But just don't show it to us now. But I mean, that being said, though, The Last of Us 2 being announced is a big thing, especially for Sony fans and stuff, because it's a huge game. And going back to your first thing where, you know, Xbox is done and people just hating on one side or the other, want one side or the other fail, just stop that fucking bullshit. Stop being so fucking childish and petty. Like, we want both of these companies to do well because it works out for the gamers. Like, just stop that garbage.
You know, gee, that's an excellent point. Man, like, I know Crap gets pointed at, Mooch, I get pointed at, saying that we want Sony to die. And it's like, no, we don't.
No, we don't.
No, I don't.
We actually want them to turn their business practices around and give to the gamers what they
right by the gamers.
Yeah. And then, you know, the competition within the industry, it'll just be better for us. You know what I'm saying?
Crap said multiple times, like, the best thing that could have happened to Microsoft was the release date or the release thing of in 2013. Like, absolutely, because they put them on the freaking, you know, attack and doing such good things. And where Sony, you know, started off strong and now they're getting complacent and, you know, showing stuff too far out. And that's great for, you know, dragging on, you know, the Sony fans and stuff like that. But, you know, at the end, they're still not playing their first party games and they got to wait a long time for it. That's just freaking horrible.
Yeah. That's my biggest problem, right? Like, okay, what they did at E3, they wow people, right? Like, oh, here's a new God of War and they've taken it a different direction. Cool, right? Well, when's that game coming out? I don't know. You know, hey, here's a Spider-Man game, open world by Insomniac, who's a great developer. But how far along in development is it, and when's it coming out? Oh, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. You know, like, every game they've announced has been delayed, so it's like you feel, and then the ones that weren't, at least I feel a little underwhelmed by them. Like, you know, look at like Knack. I know that I realized that was a launch game, and I think it was like a $40 title. So I guess you can't really bitch too much. But then you look at stuff like, I know you liked it, She-Wolf, but The Order 1886.
I did like that game.
I know, like 4.5, 5 hours though, you know.
Yeah, I think
kind
it was a
of
short game. I thought
no multiplayer. Like
no multiplayer. Yeah, it was like it was rushed. To be honest with you.
yeah, and you know what? I bought that game when I got my PS4, and people were like, "But if why'd you buy it?" Well, the same reason I bought Rise. You get these new hardware, you want something that's going to be a graphical showpiece, and so if I was going to be like, "Hey, here's my new PS4," the game that I would show off would be that game. It would probably be Uncharted 4 now because that's probably a better looking game with a full screen. But
Bloodborne was still a pretty
Until
awesome
Horizon
game,
comes
though.
out, man. Horizon Zero Dawn's probably
yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn looks good. I 100% agree. I have that game pre-ordered, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. I mean, that's going to be hopefully a good game.
I'm just worried about the story, but that has nothing
Yeah.
to do with Sony. That's just Guerrilla Games in general. They don't have the greatest history of having great games with stories. So their games are usually amazing, but the stories are a little lacking. But that's just me personally.
Like I can't even really get into the Killzone stuff. Is just
Yeah.
I always buy them, and then I get like halfway into them, like the stories, and I'm like, and then I pretty much forget
You're like,
about
why
them.
did I do this to myself again, man?
And then the multiplayer is usually pretty piss poor as well, so that's always something that.
See now, okay, a lot of people are saying in the chat that are we just not patient and devs are taking their time, and is that a problem and all this? The thing about, we're not complaining that they're taking their time and that they're creating a great game, but if you're going to show a trailer, it's kind of like movies.
Show it a year out, not 4 years out, guys.
Like a year to a year and a half, show a teaser. Then a year, show a little gameplay, and then release the year in a game. Like it's like movies. You cannot tell me that if you see an awesome trailer and you're like, oh my god, I want to see this, but then it doesn't come out for like 3 years. You're like, movies don't do that. They show a trailer within a timeline before the game or before the movie actually releases. And I think games should be the same style. They should actually have set scheduled timing in between the year and a half or the 2 years that they're going to release the game, show a teaser, show gameplay and everything else like that, but then have a set date to release. Just so that way we're not constantly just wondering when this game is or if it's going to come. It has nothing to do with patience.
I agree 100%. I think that you're right, and I think that that's what I'd like to see from Microsoft as well. Like, they announced Crackdown 3 way too early. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They announced Scalebound way too early. Hell, that game got delayed at the beginning of the year.
I'm still curious about that game because it was supposed to release in this year actually. Wasn't it? No, it was supposed to originally release in 2015 at fall, and then they delayed it because they did that whole entire month of actually showing details of Scalebound and what this guy went through on creating and everything else like that. Like, there was literally a whole month. The game did not look like it really needed much more added to it. But then all of a sudden they delayed it, and then it was supposed to come out this year, and then they delayed it again. And it's things like that that just drive me nuts.
Yeah. I agree 100%, and then that's what's disappointing to me. Like, I can remember when they showed the Halo Wars 2 trailer, and I was like, maybe that's a little bit too early to be showing that off. You know what I mean? Like, I just, that's just bad business in my opinion. But I did just read this article on the Uncharted 4 standalone DLC that says that it could be up to 6 hours long, that standalone thing. So that's pretty impressive.
Nice.
Like up to 6 hours. Like, if you're an Uncharted fan, I mean, playing as Chloe and Nadine,
there
supposedly.
was a lot of people on Twitter that was arguing with me, saying that it's its own game, that it's not a DLC, it's not an expansion, it's a completely new game. But I thought
it's
it said that it was
a standalone
a form of expansion.
It's like the
Wait,
Fast
hold
and
on. It was
Furious,
revealed. Yeah, it's gonna. Here's what it says. It'll be set after Uncharted 4, but now it's going to be standalone DLC that they started in the middle of development. So it's going to be longer than The Last of Us: Left Behind, but shorter than Uncharted 4. So it's going to be up to about 6 hours long. So I doubt that.
Like I said, it's more interesting to me than the core Uncharted 4 game. No? And
yeah, I mean, that's
solidifying
I'm
with the hours, man. I'm like, damn, 6 hours? That's pretty good. I want to see what the price of it is,
Yeah, I'd be interested in I wonder if because I have the season pass. I wonder if that's going to be included in it or not. I don't really know. I would hope that I would hope that it would be. You know, apparently this was going to be DLC originally, and then they just decided to make like a standalone type
That would
situation.
be interesting to see what they do with it. Whether you can just buy, like, obviously you'll be able to buy it separately, but are you going to have Uncharted 4 to play it?
No.
No. Okay, that's the standalone part. They're going to actually separate it completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be separate, just like The Last of Us. I mean,
Then I don't think they're going to actually have it where you'll be able, like, that it'll be included in the season pass. Then
wow, that would suck, huh? What the hell did I buy that season pass for? Jesus Christ.
Just saying.
Yeah.
If you don't need Uncharted 4, I don't think they would include it.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. I know we'll have to kind of wait and see. Just GKB, what's your kind of closing thoughts on the whole event?
The whole event, man, I thought was actually a better show than last PSX. I don't know about E3. You know, E3 is always a big show, and I don't hold PlayStation experience as like an E3 kind of thing. It's like its own little thing, but I think it's way better than last year. They showed some cool AAAs, some indies that I was really excited about. Overall, a really good show.
I agree 100%. She-Wolf, what about you? Any kind of lasting thoughts? Are you going to pick up a PS4 right away or what?
Well, not right away, but definitely more considering it. You know, there was a few interesting games that stood out to me that I still got to figure out the names for some of them. But yeah, some of those indie reels kind of went a little too quick, so you didn't really get the names of some of them, but some of them did look pretty interesting. And, you know, there is still future games that I am excited for, so...
Keep in mind, those indies will probably end up on Xbox at some point as well.
Yeah,
it's possible, but at the same time, there may not. So it's just kind of I find it was a good conference. There was a couple boring talkers, but you know, even other conferences have boring talkers at times. So that's not like it's anything new. I do think it stood out to me more than E3 did. So.
Yeah, like to your question, Crap, too, about like, you know, the PS4, if we're gonna get one and stuff. That definitely put us more closer to getting another PS4. So
now, which game do you think would be one that would, like, in particular, like, say AAA? I know you guys like the indies, but is there like a AAA that you saw? Like, I know The Last of Us too, but I mean, obviously that's years away.
I think there's like, for me, it's not like one particular. I don't buy a console for like one game, so it's like a culmination of a bunch of different things, you know. So that gives me the value for my purchase.
I would like to play Horizon Dawn, but I can't justify buying a PlayStation just for that game.
Yeah, I hear you. See, that's like that'll be my 11th physical PlayStation 4 game. So I mean, you know, and again, out of those 11, there's probably like 4 to 5 that are good. So like it is kind of a tough thing to kind of gauge and things like that. Xbot, what about you? What's your main takeaway from the PSX event?
A couple things real quick. First of all, I think it was better than their E3, which is awesome. If they live up to, you know, some of the hype, if they for somehow some way get Last of Us Part 2 out before 2020, which I don't think is going to happen at all, it's going to be very interesting to me in terms of Microsoft and Sony and the games coming out and stuff like that. But there was such an undertone of PlayStation 1 remasters in there that it just kind of irked my nerve. Like I would rather see the new titles come in, you know, instead of bringing back old Crash Bandicoot, make a new one for today's generation and stuff like that. Get new gamers excited. Get, you know, new gamers buying, you know, classic franchises and stuff like that. But and one other thing is Gran Turismo Sport looks like absolute dog shit.
Hey, yeah, I forgot to even mention that, right? Like that game got delayed, probably so that it could be compatible with the Pro.
I think I'm spoiled, man. It's just I'm spoiled from freaking Turn 10 and stuff like that. So when I saw what they were showing for GT Sport, I was like, man, what is this? Like, it's nothing.
Yeah, and I agree. Like that game is not really great, or anything, not even on my radar. But at the end of the day, I thought they started off strong. The Uncharted standalone stuff looks good. Marvel vs. Capcom, yay!
Yay!
You know, a bunch of remasters, cool. If you like that stuff, if you like those games, good for you. You guys got something. For me, not really interested in those. Those aren't like killer remasters or anything like that. Like particularly
me,
like
me and GKB we're dancing around like, yo, today is an awesome day for us, man. And I'm happy that you're as excited as I am because I love Marvel vs. Capcom. Man.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah, I thought it's I think it's a fair franchise. But again, that's not really particularly my particular cup of tea. So yeah, the remaster things, and then they did like a bunch of stuff in the middle that I don't really care too much for, and then they end it with The Last of Us 2, which again, not hating, just The Last of Us.
Oh, can I point something out?
Yeah.
You know, in that Resident Evil Biohazard, did anyone notice the doctor that looked pretty much just like the guy from friggin' Outlast? There was a character. Go back for anyone who played Outlast or saw any trailers. Go back and watch that, and there's one doctor that looks just like the same doctor.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out.
They seem to like to copy people because even like that Neo looks just like the guy from Witcher 3.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that too. But Xbot, you got a podcast coming up in about an hour, right?
Yeah. I was just I just got done with the gameplay and stuff. The gameplay is ready to roll. I can't wait to get in there. Of course, you know K Mega's got some opinions on this, man.
Oh yeah. Sure.
But yeah, go down the panel. Newark, Fuski's, the Don, of course. O Snaps is going to be there. Dude, I am really excited for this show because we get to go in for an hour and a half. I try to keep the show at an hour and a half. It just never works out like that. Yeah. I think Mooch exactly trained me. Mooch trained me well, man. Is what happened.
Yesterday at Crossfire, I'm like, Mooch, bro. Speaking of long times, man. 9:30. Come on, man. And GKB, we're both going to be on the Shop podcast tonight.
Hell yeah, that's
nice,
fun, bro.
Yeah, so I think that's at 7.
Yep.
Yeah. So that might cut a little bit into Xbot, but I don't know.
Man,
maybe shouldn't be.
We got PTK Blam, man, dude. What the state you're living in? They got to put the time the clocks back, man. What's going on?
At Arizona, bro.
Freaking Arizona, man.
Yeah, and then what's on tap at 9:30? We're doing game night. I know that.
I don't know.
Oh, I gotta call out Mooch. I was watching the Crossfire, and when you sit there and say you're watching IGN gameplay, that's like watching a 2-year-old play Halo, bro. You gotta go play Division yourself, bro.
I had people tell me that we should play the Division, but then I had people tell me we should play Titanfall. So I'm debating about playing Titanfall 2, like say halfway, and then halfway through the night change to like Call of Duty.
I'm down with Titanfall 2 because I could use
loophole. We have Titanfall 2 in the house.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking, doing half the night of, or unless, people end up enjoying Titanfall 2, then we'll just stay with Titanfall 2. But we're going to start with that one anyways, because let's be honest, it's free weekend, so everybody can play. So
yeah, exactly. Right? So I think that would be, I would love to play it because I don't get to play it because nobody I know has it. So yeah, it'd be cool to play a little bit. I'd even be willing to hop on the video, although I don't have that DLC. So yeah,
you have to have the DLC for it.
Yeah, I don't know. So so we got all that good stuff to look forward to tomorrow. MNC mornings, 11 a.m. right here, giving away a year of Xbox Live. We have something like 19 voicemails. So that should be fun. It's going to be a good time. Me and Mooch Rants. I'm sure
I had one already made, and I was going to email it in, and my freaking daughter deleted it off my phone because she was playing with my my voice recorder thing. I was so mad.
Well, the good news is you can still call in.
It's true.
But you don't win. But you don't get in the.
Yeah.
But you don't win. Yeah,
you don't win.
We might do some of that stuff. I don't know. So we do have multiple things to give away. So it'll be funny. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me. We kept it right at about an hour, just like I promised everyone on the panel. And we'll catch you guys later. Make sure you guys tune in to the next podcast, to PTK Blam's The Shop, and then Game Night tonight.
Yeah,
let's have a good time. Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.